Hey everyone, welcome back. We are diving into one of your favorite topics, poop. We're going to be talking about constipation tonight. So many of you guys are finding yourselves not pooping as frequently as you probably should. In fact, you should be pooping 2 to 3 times a day. Not per week, but per day. And it blows my mind how many people are going maybe once a day, maybe just a couple of times a week, maybe once a week, or worse, once every couple of weeks. It's a very real thing. And if you're watching this and you're experiencing this type of constipation where you're struggling to poop and you want to go so badly, you go to sit down, you squeeze, and then you turn around and you look and it's just been like this little pellet poop that's been passed, and you feel like you're constantly not satisfied. Like there's still poop in there that just won't come out no matter what you do. And it's leaving you feeling like super bloated and frustrated and in pain, and probably feeling really uncomfortable in your body. If you were anything like I was when I was constipated, I was relying on baggy shirts, undoing the top button of my pants, and eventually I just retired my jeans and stuck to the stretchy, comfy pants, because the lack of pooping left my stomach feeling really hard and sensitive and uncomfortable. And I just know firsthand how much this really starts to trickle out and affect other areas of your life, not just in how you're feeling in your body on a day-to-day basis, but here's the interesting part is, when you're not pooping and you so badly need relief and you're feeling uncomfortable, you kind of get to this place where you're like, no one touch me, right? Like, don't touch me, don't even look at me. And if you have a partner or a husband at home, you may have even turned them away, and it's affecting your relationship, it's affecting your sex life, it's affecting your ability to show up your best self in your job, in your family, for your kids, because you're freaking uncomfortable and maybe a little snippy because you're just feeling so off. And I don't need to tell you, it's important for you to be pooping. You know this. It's why you're watching this Facebook Live. But I do want you to understand why it's so important that you get on it right now and we get you some support right now. I know you've been struggling with this for so many years, and I know you've tried a lot of things and it hasn't worked. But that's not a good enough reason to not keep searching and not keep trying. What's going to be really critical is getting you on a complete gut repair system, because all of this constipation means that you are not effectively eliminating the toxins and waste that need to get out of the body, that your liver has worked so hard to filter through and send out to the colon to be evacuated. Because it's not being properly eliminated, what that means is your body is now reabsorbing all of those toxins back into the blood system. It gets sent right back to your poor old liver, who's working overtime for you, filtering out all of the day-to-day toxins that are being ingested and inhaled and eaten. And now it's got to deal with all the old shit too. And so that becomes problematic because your liver is now bogged down. It's struggling to filter out your blood. And we essentially now have dirty blood floating through and filtering through your body. This is not making you feel well. Just think about it. If you had old oil in your car going through your car, so that sludgy old, have you ever seen used oil? It's like dark, black, gunky, thick, sticky oil. That's not good. That's not good. Think about that floating through your veins, how much that's going to make you feel sluggish. It's going to make you feel tired. You're going to get brain fog. You're going to feel stiff and sore and uncomfortable. And so this isn't just about getting you pooping, right? Yeah, we need to get you pooping. Yeah, you need some relief. But it's really starting to trickle out and affect not just how you're feeling, not just how your body's functioning, but how you are showing up in your day-to-day life. Here's the interesting thing. I talked to a gal last week and she said to me, Alyssa, I'm pooping once a week. And it just it was like mind blown, because here's what I did. And I used to be in this situation too. I did the math. For the first time I did the math. I was like, we need to really like take a look at this. You should be pooping 2 to 3 times per day. And keeping that in mind over a 7-day week, that means that you are missing up to 21 poops if you're only going once a week. Now, I want you guys, if you're watching this right now, I want you to ask yourself, how often am I pooping? How often am I pooping? And do the math on how many poops you're missing. So if you're going just once a day, you're missing 2 poops every single day, up to 2 poops. That really starts to add up over time, guys. I mean, no wonder you feel so bloated. No wonder you feel so heavy and just icky. Right? So Amy's saying, I understand these feelings. I'm lucky to go every other day. I mean, Amy, I want you to just imagine, what would it feel like if you were to able to go 2 to 3 times every single day? What would that feel like? How would your body feel? Would it feel lighter? Would it feel more energized? Would you maybe have a bit more pep in your step, right? I want you guys to really imagine that. Margie's saying 2 to 3 times a week most times. Okay, so do the math, guys. If you're going 2 to 3 times per week, you should be going 2 to 3 times per day. How many poops are you missing? And we need to really ask, like, where's all that poop going? Where's it all going? Well, it's being reabsorbed back into your body. Yuck. Yuck. So this is a problem. I mean, it all makes sense why you're feeling so darn crummy when you just ain't pooping. So let's today dive into, we're going to talk about these 6 things that are keeping you constipated. And it's not just about food, guys. In order for you to fix your gut, we're going to have to work on more than just the foods and fuel that you are giving your body. All right. Let's see what everyone's jumping in the comments. Jennifer said, I'd only go once a week or 10 days without laxatives. No wonder I'm miserable. Yes, girl, no wonder you are miserable. No wonder you feel like a bag of poop. Literally, right? Here's the fascinating thing, guys. This is going to blow your mind. Did you know that you can carry up to 20 pounds of poop in your colon? 20 pounds of poop. People come to me and they're like, Alyssa, I have weight to lose. I'm like, no, you have poop to lose. We have clients that lose weight on the program. It's because we get them pooping. We have a client right now, Carolyn. Carolyn came into the program. She was extremely constipated, and we got her in just 3 weeks pooping twice per day. She's lost 10 pounds on the program, and she always tells me, Alyssa, I've lost 10 pounds in poop. And girl, she is absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It's all about the poop. Okay, Amy's saying, wow, I'd feel amazing if I did no more bloating and looking pregnant, uncomfortable. You bet. Absolutely. Dawn said, I have bouts from IBS, and from there I don't go for days. Yeah, this is super uncomfortable. Pamela's saying, ew. Yes, ew. You're not getting rid of that poop. Where's it going? We need to talk about that. So, who wants to know what the 6 things are? Give me a yes in the comments if you guys are ready to understand 6 really big things that no one's really talking about that are likely keeping you constipated. And again, it goes way beyond just food. So drop a big Y-E-S yes in the comments if you are ready. We're going to dive in. So, number 1, the very first thing that we have to talk about is bulking foods. Bulking foods. That probably doesn't sound, you're probably thinking, yeah, that's about right. I don't want any bulking foods. I need like some loosening foods, some like evacuation foods, like give me something other than the bulking, right? Here's the thing I want to be perfectly clear on, like crystal clear. Food is not the problem, it's your gut. And I am not going to contribute to the dialogue that's happening out there that's creating food fear. It ain't going to happen here. We do not believe in food fear here. We do not believe in food restriction. And I also want you to understand how foods work for you. And so there are certain foods that you don't need to be scared of. But a lot of these foods are foods that you guys are relying on and eating a lot of. And if you have constipation, you might want to just reduce the amount of them that you're eating. So not to be scared of them. These are not bad foods. These are good foods. They're healthy foods. You need to eat these foods. But if you're eating too many of them, probably going to bung you up a little bit. So bulking foods are going to be foods that are things like pumpkin. So I always ask all my diarrhea clients, what do you give your animals, your dogs, when they have diarrhea? And the answer is always pumpkin, right? So again, pumpkin's not something to be scared of, but understand these types of foods are really great at helping to bulk and form a poop. So when you eat them, have small amounts and space it out. It's not something you want to have every day. Another really common one, or a more common one, would be oats, oatmeal. How many of you guys, let me know in the comments if this is you, who loves having oatmeal for breakfast? Hands up in the comments. Who here? I know you guys are eating their oatmeal for breakfast at home. So many of you guys. It's a tasty breakfast. It's filling. It helps to hold you through the morning, right? But in my experience, it's not that you need to cut oats out, it's that a lot of people are eating way too much oatmeal. So in the Love and Trust Your Guts program, we teach you how to balance out your portions, balance out these different food groups so that you're helping your gut instead of hurting your gut. So oats are another really great bulking food. You might need to just watch how much of them you're eating if you're constipated. Other foods like squash, pumpkin, we talked about sweet potatoes, that's the one I was looking for. Even brown rice or rice in general, quinoas, these types of healthy, good for you carbs, these are not foods you need to take out. These are foods that are helping to bulk and form your stool, which is important, but again, in excess are going to bung you up. Make sense? All right, I know everyone's jumping in the comments saying, I like oatmeal, I love overnight oats. Love them up. It's not that you can't have them. We have to watch how much of them you're eating. And I see a lot of people that are eating like a half a cup to a cup, sometimes 4 cups. It's insane how much oatmeal people eat. And that's where it becomes really problematic. So that's the first thing. The second thing that is bunging your butt up, right? The other thing that is keeping you constipated is the fact that your stomach is very likely underactive. Remember guys, I said this goes so much deeper than just foods. You can't fix your gut with just foods. Foods are really powerful. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Foods are powerful, but when you've gotten to this place where your gut is so angry and it's kind of like your car has been through, all this wear and tear and you haven't done any of the oil changes and you've gotten to a place that you need an engine rebuild, you can't just put some more oil in the car. You can't just put premium gas in the car. So when you're here watching this and your gut needs a bit of an engine rebuild and you've never been taught how to do any sort of maintenance on your gut, you can't just put premium foods in your gut and expect it to flip and turn around and everything and all is going to be right in the world. You are going to need a little bit more loving than that. So when I'm talking about an underactive stomach, this is really, really common. And one of the common things that I see roots to many of the symptoms that you guys are struggling with, not just constipation, but also bloating, skin issues like acne, rosacea, eczema, psoriasis. And even when you start to get into things like yeast infections, UTIs, hormone imbalances, we really need to go back and take a look at the state of your gut. You see, when your gut is underactive, what that means is when you're going to eat your foods, they're not being broken down properly. So that's problematic because if you're not breaking your foods down properly and they're not being, broken down into small little nutrients that you can then absorb, you're going to see problems with your bowels. The whole system starts to fall apart, right? So that is one really important factor we have to go in and address. Now, the third thing that we need to talk about is motility. And I'm going to give a special shout out to those with SIBO. If you have small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, motility issues is one of the main causative factors for SIBO being present. what motility is the actual peristalsis of your intestines, or the contraction, that muscle contraction of your intestines. So when motility is slow and sluggish, you're not effectively contracting that muscle to push stool out and send it out the old back way, right? We can't eliminate it. So motility is something that absolutely can be keeping you constipated, and we've got to take a look at that, especially if you've got SIBO. Now, the fourth thing, this one is absolutely within your control, and many of us aren't doing so hot on it, and that is drinking enough water. Okay, here's how you figure out how much water you should be drinking. Take your weight. So your body weight, let's do easy math. Let's say you are 200 pounds. You're going to divide that by 2, so 100. 100 is the number of ounces of water you should be drinking in a day. So again, take your body weight, divide it by 2, and that gives you the number of ounces of water you need to drink in a day to stay hydrated. Now, if you don't drink in ounces like me, then take that number and Google it and be like, Google, like, how many milliliters or liters is this? You hear me? Okay? I don't drink in ounces. Maybe you do, all good. But that is really critical. Now, here's what's even more important for you coffee lovers. I see you. I see you. If you're drinking all the dang coffee, for every coffee that you have, you need to add an extra water. You need to double your cup of water to make up for the dehydrating effects of that coffee. That caffeine is going to dehydrate you. And it's not just about coffee, it's any caffeinated beverages. If you're relying on energy drinks, or if you're even drinking green teas or herbal teas that are caffeinated, then we need to increase the water. Now, you can get herbal teas and many other teas and drinks and beverages that are caffeine-free, and you're good to go, okay? But definitely make sure that you're monitoring that. And then as well, if you are also exercising, then we need to make sure you're adding in more water as well. Okay, Dawn is asking, how do you increase motility? Well, it's different for every person, but this is what we teach in the Love and Trust Your Guts program. Okay, Pamela's saying, ugh, that's me playing the SIBO game right now. It's a process. I'm sending you much love. I know how frustrating it is, and you can absolutely do it. Please, please, guys, if there's one thing that you take away from me, let it be to never ever lose the faith that it's possible for you to fix your gut. Just because it hasn't worked yet doesn't mean it's not possible for you. It just means that you're missing critical pieces of the puzzle, or there's some stone that's still unturned, and we just need to do some more work. Okay, Margie, you're funny. You said, I drink water with my coffee. Not quite. I mean, you're right, but it doesn't count. Okay, so water is a really, 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 really big one. All right, let's talk about the next thing, and that is all about stress. Stress is so important that we talk about. Here's the thing, you cannot out-supplement or out-eat a shitty lifestyle and or stress, okay? We have to actively work on your stress, and here's why. Stress depletes your gut. It creates an underactive stomach, which affects your motility, which then causes constipation. It all links back. So it depletes your gut, creating an underactive stomach. Studies have also shown that stress will affect the motility, that muscle contraction of your colon. So it's either going to speed things up or slow things down. So we see stress being a direct correlation to how your gut is feeling, how your bowels are working. We got to talk about it. And so when your gut becomes underactive and motility starts to be off, this is where we start to see these bacterial imbalances happening, because we don't have enough acid in the stomach, essentially, to keep bad bacteria out. They start to come in and take over and repopulate. In cases of SIBO, when motility is not happening and we're not effectively pushing things out, the bacteria end up getting trapped and sort of backlogged into the small intestine. This is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. Okay, so we have to take a look at stress. It's definitely a causative underlying factor. And this is where no low FODMAP diet, no GAPS diet, AIP, specific carbohydrate, paleo, keto, whatever diet you think you need to follow, none of that is going to fix these issues, especially if stress is still high and lifestyle factors are not in favor of your health. All right, let's talk about the last one. We kind of touched on this one, but having not enough good bacteria, I'm going to say, and or too much of the bad bacteria. So when we don't have enough of the good guys, obviously they're kind of like they're kind of like bouncers, I like to say, at the door, keeping bad bacteria out. But those good bacteria are obviously going to be beneficial. They also help with digestion of foods. They support your immune system, your mood, all of that stuff. But what we often don't realize is that there are many different strains of bacteria. In fact, your body can have up to 1,000 different strains of bacteria in it. And each of those strains are like different personalities. They give you different benefits. And so the number one thing that I just want to lay clear on the table right now is that probiotics are not made equal. And I hear sometimes, especially in our Facebook group, people say, well, my doctor said just take any old probiotic, they're all the same. They're not all the same. It's why one probiotic is $5 and the next one is $60. There's a big difference. So all of these different strains of bacteria give you different benefits. And there's specific strains of bacteria that will actually help to get motility going, will help with digestion of foods, and specifically with constipation. And that's why there's certain probiotics on the market that are researched specifically for constipation. That's important. So you might be taking the wrong probiotic, which is why it's not working. I hear that a lot. I took a probiotic, it didn't work. Well, it's because there's specific strains that your body might need. So we need to explore that, because that can be a really big factor in keeping you constipated. So guys, here's the thing. I know you're feeling frustrated. You've been constipated for a donkey's age, right? And many of you will message me and say, like, Alyssa, it's been 10, 20, 30, 40, my whole life, years and years and years of me struggling to poop. And if you are sitting at home watching this right now and you are thinking, I'm so done with this, I'm ready to finally feel normal again without having to follow restrictive diets, without having to be medicated the rest of my life, and not have to worry about my symptoms constantly coming back, then I want you to send me a private message. Shoot me a message. Let me know how often you're pooping, what's been holding you back, and let's see if the Love and Trust Your Guts program is going to be the right fit for you. If you are watching this and you have found that this was helpful tonight and you've learned so much about poop and your colon and all about constipation, then can you do me a favor? Can you give it a like, give it a share, tell your friends about it? Listen, we don't need to be scared or embarrassed about poop. Everyone does it. We just need to get you doing it a little bit more. I hope you guys have an awesome weekend, and we'll see you next week. Bye.